So hey everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast, the nerdy podcast hosted by two northern nerds. I'm one of your hosts, Sam,
And I'm the other host, Paul.
and this is episode 2 of our mini-sword movie review.
Yes.
Yeah?
So we enjoyed doing the mini-sword last week with when we done the review of The Conjuring 3, and I thought it did quite well. So we're going to give it a go, and we'll try probably do some new films, and we'll even do some old films in the future as well. So looking forward to seeing what we can talk about.
So for this mini-sword, this 2021 release is a reboot of a movie series of the same name. It scored 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. It stars Charlotte Baker, Emily Dumont, I'm not going to be able to say this right, Matthew Modine, Bill Sage, and Aidan Bradley. And this is Wrong Turn.
Yes. Now, I remember the original Wrong Turn. It had Eliza Dugu from Buffy fame in when she was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I knew about that one. I didn't know there was 7 more.
Yes.
7 in the franchise.
Yeah. I think I tried watching a few of the sequels, and if you're a fan of it, well done. I could not.
Well done for sticking with it. But to be honest, I've never seen the Eliza Dushku one. Never seen it. Didn't know what I was in for. And when you said to watch it, but I described it, and he went, "Yeah, let's give it a go." I says, "Well, I need to watch it anyway, so you might as well come and watch it with us." And I'm gonna say we didn't mind it.
Yeah,
didn't mind it at all.
If you've seen the originals, it goes down a little bit down the same track, but it veers off quite quickly and goes off completely, because the original, it's more like The Hills Have Eyes and like the mutants and that's type of thing, where this is a little bit more realistic and a bit more human, shall we say.
Well, that's what Anth was waiting for. He was like, "Come on, then, where's Deliverance? Like,
yes,
is that going to take place?"
To hear the song.
Yeah. Yep, kept doing that all the way through it. I didn't mind it. I have wrote a few things down that I wanted to say. One was I'd never seen the others. Didn't know there was 7.
Yep.
And also, I don't know about you, but heavily sympathised with is it the Foundation?
Yes, the
Is
Foundation.
that what they were called?
Yes, yeah.
And I heavily sympathised with the Foundation. Probably more before we met them, because of how much of a dick that group was.
Yes.
I hated every single one of them.
I didn't mind the lead girl. I can't. The Matthew
Modine's
daughter. She had a bit of sympathy. Like I say, she kind of didn't redeem herself at a certain point in the film where she could have. But
I mean, we can talk about it. It's spoiler filled. It's a review. It's
So, like I say, well, the whole story is like say, American preppy kids like doing well in college decide to go in the wilderness for good gram pictures. Do we say
whatever reason?
Get warned by the locals not to go off the beaten path because bad things happen. So good horror tropes is there, and then we are introduced to, like I say, these people wearing deer skull headdresses. Elk, yes.
It was elk headdresses.
And like I say, there's booby traps on the way, and there's basically weird happenings in tents, members going missing, miscommunication, so we say, where one of them thinks his girlfriend's being killed and ends up killing one of the Foundation people quite brutally, which was a bit upsetting.
Yeah, the blood in this was very
yes.
Had to turn away a few times. The Foundation is a group of settlers who believe that America is done with.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for it. And they have completely self-sustained themselves in their own little village. You go to find out that when they put on trial the rest of the team, because one of them dies before even we get to the Foundation. He dies in that horrific tree accident.
Oh, yes, it was brutal.
Horrible. But when the surviving members of the group are put on trial, you find out that everything has been a complete misunderstanding. They weren't they weren't taking the mouthy arsey kid off to hurt him. They were actually going to help him because he'd fallen into one of their traps that they use to hunt with. And it just turned into this whole saga where they were she lied for starters.
She lied in the
she lied straight away to them.
If he killed him, and he should have said no. If she said yes, they would have probably got away.
They probably would have been less severe. But no, they got a verdict of guilty because she lied, and their sentence was darkness. And Anth was going, did he just say darkness? And I went, yes. And then we sat for ages going, what the fuck does that mean? And then when he pulled the poker out, Anth was getting, oh, nah, scanning his eyes.
Came out on like say the brutality. Like say there wasn't even a slow build up to it though. That was probably like say my thing, because when it started happening, it wasn't like a slow burner. Things happened quite quickly and kind of stayed at that intense level as well. Like
it didn't really roll.
Punishments when you see them all in that cave later on, and they're all blind and feeding off each other and stuff. It's not a pleasant viewing. But I like the whole idea of them switching and saying, right, these people can be useful, so we're going to keep them and inducting them into the faith of the Foundation. And the ones that are thought aren't useful got sent to the darkness.
Yeah. And she makes a deal with them, basically offering herself and Darius as her boyfriend and his traits to them to get them to stay there. Then her dad, there's two kind of stories running parallel to each other. You've got theirs and you've got the dad of Jennifer, the main star, who's gone out looking for her because apparently he's the only parent who cares. And
yes.
He goes and tries to find her, and you see both their stories until when they eventually interlink with each other. And he finds her in the Foundation. It looks to him that she's turned, even though she wasn't there very long.
No.
Like, she went on fucking Lara Croft and managed to learn how to use a bow and arrow within a matter of weeks. Like, bloody hell.
He had a shit beard. A boyfriend suddenly discovered this shit beard where it was like...
Come on. Like, it was literally a few weeks. I'm sure he said she'd been missing for 6 weeks.
Right.
And
I might have missed that part, but the time
scales
didn't. But she was with child as well, though, so that was the whole creepiness.
Actually, I did. So she basically, they do escape. It's a massive survival escape. The locals actually do end up helping, and you find out again another miscommunication. The locals were trying to help him not go there because they knew a lot of people need to start talking to each other properly is what I'm trying to say on this one. And the ending,
sign, don't go here, you might die.
Don't go there. The ending was fantastic. I really liked the ending.
Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah. That was the only thing I liked the proper ending, because it had the same problem as I had with Lord of the Rings. It had too many false endings at times. When you think it was going to be over, it kind of led on a little bit more, and it was like, just go. But no, when you go into, like, say, a dad's house, and she's, like, say, got the bump and everything, and she sees the big bad guy, the guy with the amazing beard.
He was called Venable.
Venable, yes, but he had an awesome beard. Like, if you're going for TV beards, he's probably one of the best I've seen in a while. But yeah, he was quite sinister with that, because at times you thought, is he a nice guy? Is he a good? But when in that scene, you realise that he's quite scary. But then
quite intimidating, and that beard was amazing. And the little mute girl, Ruthie, I didn't get her at all until the very end, because I do think it was her who did the majority of what happened in that trailer van.
Yeah,
I think Ruthie did play a massive part in it.
But that's the thing that I liked, because you know something's probably going to kick off and something was going to happen, but you don't actually see it and let you think about what happened in that van. That was an element I did like. And then when they come out and how brutal she was, and then just walk back, That was, yeah, I think that was
hand in hand together. I thought it was brilliant. So
Mm-hmm.
the ending is literally she agrees to go with them again.
Mm-hmm.
And when the credits are rolling, and Ant went, oh well, there you go, it's just setting you up for another one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But as the credits are rolling, the camper van that they jump into starts shaking, rocking, crashes, and her and Ruthie just walk out at the end, get bitches. Yeah. The best cool walk was them two. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
it had a very Devil's Reject feel at the end, I think.
Yes, very much, because you really do, like, the whole, like, at the end of Devil's Reject, the credits are rolling while Free as a Bird is playing. Is it Free Bird?
I think I wouldn't be able to tell you the song exactly, but
I think
there
it's
is
Free
a cool,
Bird.
like, southern rock song, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Free Bird, and they're getting shot at while the credits are rolling. They didn't die though, because there's a third film I really like. But I gotta say, if I was her, I would have jumped ship and I would have stayed there regardless if my dad had come to get me.
Would you?
I would have stayed there. He was hot as shit. I would not have left that compound without him. He was beautiful. So I would have stayed regardless. I know my dad probably wouldn't have come get me. He would have been one of those. But
she's dead. We'll mourn her.
Exactly. She's in a better place. I really would have been in a better place too, because he was beautiful. I would have stayed there.
Yeah.
I am very much a power, like, I go to the power. I always remember Walking Dead with when Negan joined and being asked, would you join Negan? I was getting in a heartbeat. I'd be like, I'll come. Take me.
I think the true horror, though, when you see, because they're trying to act like it's this perfect society, but when you see, like, the people that the deem is not useful to them and how they've been treated, that was the true horror of, like I say, that aspect.
Exactly.
But I think when me and Nick watched it, I said it was a good, well, it was an okay film, being honest with you. Like I say, it wasn't one I hated.
Right.
There was elements I loved, but it felt too long for a horror film, because I think the runtime was just over 2 hours.
Oh, was it? I didn't. I was just. I like when me and Ant when we're sitting talking about it as it's happening. Yeah. So I don't tend to take a lot of, like, take note of the time of how long it's going for. And I think that's like my best movie experiences with Ant, is when me and him can just sit and talk about it as it's going on. What just like in the moment, like I love watching films like that. So this is why I'm really going to start enjoying doing these mini-sodes, because it means that I can just sit down with my husband and watch a film with him. Because then I'd be like, I have to watch it because I've got to review it, so you might as well watch it with us.
But I thought if you knocked out 20 minutes of some of the unnecessary stuff, like, I know they've got to build the backstory and stuff, but a lot of stuff just kept on getting like, it was quite repetitive.
Well, they didn't do a good enough job of making us like the group, because I really didn't. They were absolutely awful people. Ant was like, the only
ones that I generally felt a little bit warm to was the gay blokes, the two lads.
My heart broke. He had a proper genuine reaction of grief.
Yeah.
Because you know in horror films when, like, someone dies and just leave them there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all right. Yeah. He didn't want to. He showed that side of, I don't want to leave him.
And he was never. And it was not the same. He didn't go grieve for 30 seconds and go back to himself. No. He was, after the film, he was not that person again. He was quite vibrant and quite lively as well.
His grief stayed. He was a brilliant actor, but his grief stayed with him throughout. Even like when it was something was mentioned about being outside all night, and he was going, "Well, it's all right. We left my partner outside all night," kind of thing. Yeah. He carried it with him, and he did it really well. It's probably the first time in a horror film that I've seen someone act like that about leaving somebody from their group who's died, because normally it's just a forgotten thing, isn't it?
I'd say that I think with this film as well, it's probably going to miss a lot of people out because of the whole pandemic, and I think this would have got a cinema release. But like I say, I don't know if I would have watched it if you hadn't recommended it for this episode. In all honesty, I really don't. I think that's the thing. I was looking for something new because I didn't want to just go back to like something that I might have watched. I just thought, I remember watching it a few weeks ago and thinking, no, I quite like it, and I know how much of a horror fan you are. So I thought this might have been, like I said, not like I say, a genuine like slasher horror film, and it makes you think about it as well because it's all the different
love psychological horror.
You change your feelings about, like, say you originally like the group, then they start acting like dicks, and you think, oh, them are arseholes. Then you don't want anything bad to happen, but then you think the foundation, oh, these are canny blokes or canny people.
Definitely, it made you think about who is actually the bad guy here, because you're always looking for the bad guy, aren't you?
Yes.
And you with this, it tosses and turns of who actually is the bad guy, because the group was very unlikable, but were they really that bad people? Like, they deserved what they were getting? No. And their reactions to what they were looking at would, I probably would have been the same thing. If I saw some big dudes in an elk hood coming up to us, I probably would have thought they were out to get us.
Yeah.
And then when you hear the other side,
language as well, because you don't understand what they're saying, because they had their own little language, but it's spoke English as well. But I think it's not the end bit, the end 5 minutes, when you see the turn and you think, they've done this before, because for them to basically go and find them, they must have had the resources and known and done that before to be able to do it.
Oh, definitely. And he was, he was dressed totally civilian, wasn't he? Like, nothing about him said bare wilderness, elk wearing hoodie kind of guy.
Sam fell in love with.
So if you're going to mark this out of 5, what are we looking at? What are you?
I'll probably score with your score last week. I'll probably say 3.5. So as a horror film, I think it was better than The Conjuring 3. Just
you're gonna have to agree with you a little bit, yeah.
Because it was a bit more. I enjoyed it a bit more, and it didn't leave us as frustrated. This was just basically give us too much, where less would have been better. Like, I would probably say like 4 if it was like, say, just trimmed down a bit.
I'm gonna knock it up to a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 4 out of 5, and basically because of how beautiful Bill Sage was in this film. I'll give an extra half a point from last week, because he is. I would have just stayed there. I would not have left.
I did have beard envy of him, so that was a thing. So I was very jealous of his beard.
God, it was a surprising watch. I enjoyed it. And probably, I don't want to say more than The Conjuring, just because I really love them films, but I get what you mean. It made you think. Made you think a lot. Your emotions change a lot throughout it.
But I think, like you said at the start, like most horror films that get released now that you don't really hear about, the Rotten Tomato scores are normally quite low. Where this one was about average, I would say
64.
64. I wouldn't say 64. That's a huge one.
What was The Conjuring? The Conjuring was 57.
Yeah. So yeah, it saves a lot.
It does, but there you go. There is our little mini sword review of Wrong Turn. I do recommend you go and watch it.
2021 version.
Yeah. I do recommend you go and watch it.
Yes, cool. So again, thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed, please comment on the video. This will be up on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. You can find us simply searching Nerdy Up North. We do have a Facebook community as well, where, like I said, just search in Facebook. I've done your trick there last week. Nerdy Up North community, and we are Instagram as well, Nerdy Up North. Like I say, follow us, enjoy. Like I say, we share a lot of content. And like I say, we'll have a lot of laughs as well. But anything you want to add there, young lady?
No, I'm all good. That was a good little mini review. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, bye everyone.
Okay. Same bat time, same bat channel, and like I say, thanks for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon again.